I'm going to attempt to be helpful, and we're going to look at taking out the heater matrix. First, you can admire the newly swapped sporty type steering wheel from the sporty models, but without a, a GTI or whatever wrong logo on there. So my brother managed to pick that up for me. I swapped it in. It's quite nice having a leather steering wheel. If it is a bit rough around the edges, we'll see about that. So I have before dismantled everything from the glove box, coming across, taking everything out. I've checked and I'm told there is an easier option. So what we're going to do first is take out underneath the driver's side this panel here. Screw here, screw in here. It's just there where my finger is. I've taken that one out already. I've taken a few of these out just to get started. There's a screw just hiding in there. You'll find there's a small hole out and there's a screw in there. There is a screw here. There's a screw here. And then we're looking for this larger bolt, which, except from the light, we can't see. But hopefully you can maybe just make out there's a bolt there we need to take out. And once I've done that, this panel should then be free. So we will come back to that in a second. So basically what it looks like once the panel's off, you may have more wires for bits and pieces than I have, having a very basic spec. That probably should be clipped in somewhere. This screw doesn't need to come all the way. You can see it now, this bolt. It's a type of fixing on this side here where it is open at one end, but you have to loosen it a fair way so you can get the movement. I mean, taking out is just as easy. But that's step one. Next thing I'm going for is the bottom of the centre unit. So it's this piece right at the bottom here. Now, the orientation of the screws at the front is essentially that way. So that's where you're aiming with this piece here, not sort of up as the holes might look like they are, but they're going that way. There are a couple of holes right at the back on either side here, which aren't attached, as you can see by the way my centre console has now just come away. So we're just gonna get a terrible shot. This is now loose. We just have to position it away from the wires to pull it free. Next thing we're going to do is take this centre panel out. So I'm starting with the knobs. They just pull off straight. I line them all up vertically and just pull it out. There's then two screws here and here, which we remove. This just pulls away freely and we're down to here. So what I'm going to do is loosen off the two screws here and here, so you can see where this plastic is underneath, so we can give a bit of movement to this without hopefully having to take everything out. So that's given us a bit of movement here. Now, as ever, these are all plastic, so obviously be careful when you're moving stuff. We're taking out this now, that just pops down and it'll just unclip with a bit of movement. There we go. So that is now free. I'm just going to remove the wire clip at the back, which is nicely taped up. Right, so that's out. So we can see this screw here. There is a matching one on this side behind this panel in my case. I don't know if other people have more features. We've got two screws free now, there, and they are now coming out. Right, so this is where we get to a slight bodge position. Now, if I take off the whole top of this piece, unscrew this, I then have to take off the column here to get the screws out of here, to get the screws out of here, and the screws behind here. So you take the screws out of here, take this out of here, you then get to these two screws hidden, one there and one under here, which hold the centre panel on. I'm hoping very much that if I just gently move this piece across, there's a screw there and there's a screw there, that should give me enough to free up to take this panel out here, ideally, and I can get to stuff then. So we'll see if this works. Right, so I know I've just basically said about moving plastics and breaking things, but rather than taking everything out, currently I'm just checking. So I've taken the same thing out on this side. There's two screws there, two screws there, and that gives us some movement for this to all move slightly. And this thing here with the two metal pipes here, if we can get into it to show you, these two pipes here run straight through outside to the coolant system. This is the heater matrix, and that thing there is what I'm looking for, and at this stage checking whether or not I have any liquid inside that has come out of the heater matrix to suggest it's leaking. So I can see a screw just above the pipes there. You can just see it there, and there should be one, yep, diagonally across on the other side there as well. I'm going to take those out. All I need is a tiny bit of movement to see if I get any liquid out there to suggest to me that I've got an issue. So here we are, and you can see there's just a tiny bit of movement out. It just pops out slightly. I have no obvious liquid or signs here, so it's a bit inconclusive. But there are marks around it there that suggest maybe it has had like the heat of it leaking out slightly. I think I'm going to change it. The next step is the pipes here. So these are the ones that go in for the heater matrix, and if you've got a full kit, the metal pipes on the inside of these will be replaced. So we're going to unscrew these. Now, to get the pressure out of the system, you have to remove some fluid. Depending on how good your coolant is, you've either got, coming down to the radiator, that little thing right down there, which you can unscrew, get some fluid out, or if you've got a system full of gunge or possible additives to try and get rid of leaks, we're taking off the hose here in my case. I've got some replacement coolant and I'll be doing that. Right, so I've drained my system. You might not need to. We've got this little valve off here, so this is actually part of the heater system at the back, so this is really good to get that pipe straight off there, get the nozzle off so you can get some air pressure out of there, so we know that bit's empty. But I mean, we need to do everything, so this is off at the front of the radiator, so we've got the pressure off there, and then also obviously the tank emptied, picked up like that, so you've got the system drained out from the top. And obviously also you'll see if there's any blockages or leaks in those pipes, if it's running down into the radiator, which you can probably just about see here. So if you need to get this pipe off and check this is running clear, it's such a basic system that everything needs to be working properly. You've also got hidden away this here, which looks like a bolt that's just sticking up. That's part of the cooling system as well, so get that one off as well. If you need to drain the entire system, you'll need to get that one off when we're topping it back up anyway. Now, back down here we've got the two clamps running, so I've taken those off, and then we just need to pull these pipes off. When the system's fully pressurized, it's really hard. It should be slightly easier when I've got them open. With the pipes pulled off, it is a bit of pressure to get those. They've been on there for a while, obviously. I've taken the two screws off here just to get this plate off here. This is really just about making sure I've got a nice easy job pulling those pipes out, because we need to get those from the other side, I think. So we'll see how we do in a minute. We're back under the driver's side of the dash, moving this bit away. Now, this you can just about make out as the pipes. These are the ones we've been pulling, these metal pipes here. They're the ones we've been pulling the pipes off from the other side, the hoses. And I've got 4 screws holding these on to the heater matrix itself. There's 2 screws holding the heater matrix in, one just by the pipes, and one diagonally opposite, which I think we've shown you before. So let's get those 4 screws off for the pipes and then get those out. The 4 screws are out. Now make sure you've got a container ready, lined up, because obviously the liquid has gone out of the top of the system, but it's still going to be some in the hoses. So when they're just pulled away, which I might not be able to do with one hand, there will be liquid coming into your car. So just, I think I'm going to use 2 hands for this, and we'll see how that goes. Right, the pipes are out. There's a little bar, and I really can't show you this. Further up, if you can sort of see some holes there, if you follow the path when the pipes are in, there's a little metal bar holding them tight against the other bits that they're held against the plastic frame. Just need to loosen that off. I had to get an angle in there to get to it. Loosen it off a tiny bit, it doesn't need to come out, and you've got enough space to clear these. So now with the pipes out, I will get the new kit and we'll start swapping things back in. Oh, actually no, I need to take the heater matrix out before I get that out. So there's a plan. Pull that bit of plastic frame back, and I'm just going to, I've undone the screws. I'm just going to see if I can get it now for you. I might have to move some cables out the way. Right, so the old one's here. Now you can probably not make out, if I'm honest, but they've got printed on there the tag pointing to 92, so I can see that's an original part. Vallejo part there. And here's the new one. No prints, of course, this is just an aftermarket one. It's getting harder to obviously pick up parts that are going to be original. It's got a nice plastic cover on this end, which doesn't really worry me too much, unless the other one's still stuck in there, so I'll have to see if I can get that out or not, or just take this one off. And then I also got with it the new pipes and some new foam to go around where it slots in. So we'll get to that. And the new mounting pieces, slightly different designs. This is a 4-piece one compared to 2 separate ones with screws, so I may swap this for the screws. I can just pull those little bolt pieces out and slot them in because it's got exactly the same design, and use the same original bits of metal just to hold the pipes in. And obviously we'll just got the new rubbers and everything on there. Now this one I would say is basically, doesn't seem to be leaking, but the water keeps coming through, so you can wash it through and then it runs out, and then when you tip it over again you get orange coolant, red coolant coming through. So I would say I have got some sort of blockage in there after years of use. So that is my main concern really. If there's a blockage, that is what is going to be probably not helping the system work properly. Again, I'll know it's fixed once it's back together. Right, compared to the new plate, which is really thin bit of steel, pushing them both in, I'm using the original ones to fit on there. So put those slide that on. The foam, I've just run around the edge. I will probably show you on the other one later. Just that front edge where the plastic meets the metal, just to kind of give it a bit of a seal in there. And I've also taken this end cap off because I tried pushing it in, didn't fit, so I didn't want to get it all wedged in, so I've just taken it off. It's just a cover. There's obviously a lot of plastic in there anyway. Alright, we're back outside. It's just too dark to kind of give you any detail in there. I had to take the little clamp off. I've shown you where the metal pipes were going in. I've also used the original ones because the angle of the other ones was just not quite the same, so rather than trying to play around with pattern parts, I've just put the original ones back in. So these are bolted in now. I've got that slightly loose there, so I know where I am. The lid's off there. This one's loosened off, and this is open. So we're ready to start putting the liquid back in. Obviously the pipe's closed down there. Oh, we've got the lock closed at the other end of the side of the radiator. So basically what we want to do is start filling. So I'm going to start by filling up the radiator to the top there, close that off, and then we're going to start the engine running and get the coolant move around the system. There's obviously going to be quite a lot going into the radiator, which should be the heater matrix even completely empty compared to normal times when you change it. It doesn't always empty. So this is just a long process. Make sure you get this bottle good and high up so that it can bleed properly, and go from there. I'm going to stop it here. The next step is the full bleeding of the system, which is a bit of a faff, and hopefully there's better videos out there than I'm going to show you, so I'll leave that to someone else. Good luck, don't break any plastics, and I hope there is enough info for you to be able to do this job.